I'll work you out, get you right with your physical. Always just another interlude. Asking all the questions, girl, you know I don't do interviews. It's pitiful that when I'm with them other bitches, I pretend it's you. Oh, you work at Kohl's, you in dental school.
And we back again. We're back again.
Man.
I'm sorry. I don't know what that was. The point is, we're back with another episode of the Interlude. As you can see, Jesse has a traveling background, so whatever that is, I was so thrown off. But here it is. It looks great. It looks beautiful. But on this episode, we are going to talk about the XXL Freshman classes up to this point. Yeah. We are going to talk about each freshman. Well, first we're going to talk about kind of like the freshman class concept, what it's meant for hip hop and rap, and what it's meant for a lot of artists, throughout their careers. Then we're going to talk about each class, try to keep it as brief as possible, but just talk about some of the people in that class, where they were then to where they are now, this, that, and the third. And then at the end, we are going to rank. There have been 12 classes up to this point. So we are going to kind of go back and forth with our rankings and see, where we stand with that, and come out with a consensus for y'all after the fact. So, it should be fun. But man, let's jump right into it. So, XXL Freshman class, man. First class was in 07. They skipped 08, but they've had every year since then. What does this freshman class mean for, hip hop and rap? I want to say R&B is kind of considered in that a little bit. But what does it mean for that genre? What has it meant for a lot of people's careers?
Me personally, when it first started, it was another platform for competitive competition within, new people that was just, I wouldn't even so much say just getting in the game, but getting a little buzz behind their name as far as hip hop. And at the time that the concept was, the idea, it was to, basically take niggas that was up and coming in the rap game, however they was being marketed, whether it be by their popularity, their sound, something about them. And they took that and they just marketed on a bigger scale. You got ciphers that come in, so basically artists can come test out their flows if they really got bars, or you could just really hear their sound. It's evolved so much since when you first used to have ciphers.
Yeah, it's completely
now. Yeah, but all in all, man, it's just another stepping stone for up and coming rappers, and it's been mainstream too, where it's to make XXL, bro, like coming into the game now, it's something big, bro. But
yeah,
into that when we
I think the only thing I'll say is, I think back when it first started, it was mainstream, but at the same time, it really gave rappers a break. Like if you made XXL, like that really kind of jump started a lot of people's career, because like they were maybe known in their city or maybe known on the underground level, but XXL really made them mainstream. And I think the only difference now is a lot of artists are already mainstream, and the XXL cover is just like a affirmation of where they are. It's almost like you got to get to a certain point before you can make, XXL, which it's not like horrible. It's not the worst thing, because I ain't saying artists ain't deserving. I just feel like, when it was really giving people the jump they needed to like really get their career going and grow their fan base, I think that was the real beauty of like really
buzz behind it. Yeah, like
meaning something.
Back then, and even just being a fan of hip hop back then, when you heard that XXL was coming, it was like, bro, you was anticipating it like heavy. If you was like, and I'm not saying like hip hop enthusiasts probably still not, but I know for me personally, going through high school and middle school, when I'm hearing XXL, all the XXL classes coming out every season, I'm like, I'm trying to see who's on there. If I listen to them, when I get hip on, but nah.
It's tough. I think you see the difference as you go through the classes, just kind of like in where these artists were, like when they got selected, And I mean, it's not really all bad. But like I said, I think just XXL meaning what it does to hip hop and to rap. I think, of course, as a hip hop fan, or as a rap fan, you can appreciate like you said, like, you know, XXL like meant something. Like you always want to know who was on the cover, what was going on, like in that particular magazine. So, but also I think that speaks to the fact that news and music wasn't as, of course, easily accessible as it is now. So XXL really was somebody that put you on to, hey, they just dropped a mixtape. There's no way you would have known that because it wasn't like social media was like it is now, to where we know things or artists dropping that we don't even follow or that we, you know, don't even, you know about like that. But yeah, we'll jump into the first XXL freshman class, the inaugural. For 07, there was Saigon, Saigon, don't know which one.
Saigon, I believe it's Saigon.
I think so. I had to look him up because I personally wasn't really too hip on him, but looked him up. Plies, Rich Boy, Gorilla Zoe, Joel Ortiz, Lupe, Boosie, Crooked Eye, Papoose, and Young Dro.
Now, for my hardcore hip hop, I won't even say hardcore hip hop, but Lupe, Young Dro, I know what Dro was doing there around his scene and stuff like that. But I think Boosie and Plies really got the cake.
That's clear though. I think as far if you talk about impact, if you're talking about up to this point and who have had the longer career and stayed relevant is definitely them two out of this class. I mean, I think anybody who listens or is a fan of hip hop or knows these artists, you know, you can't slight Dro for the run that he had, especially for his region. Can't slight Papoose. Crooked Eye's a legend. Joel Ortiz is dope too. All these are all of them are dope. Like all of them are great artists in their own right. But as far as Plies and Boosie being the ones that you would pick out of the group, that of course are still relatively, you know, relevant now. I think it's.
So let me ask you this: seeing we talking about impact of now, who do you think at that time had the greatest buzz between them though? On that list, like when that list was being made,
in 07? That's tough because I wasn't that old in 07, so I don't really know how people was receiving them for real. If I had to guess,
that's a real answer. I fuck with that.
If I had to guess, I probably would guess Plies, maybe Gorilla Zoe, just thinking about the time. I don't know how big Papoose was globally. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't think Crooked Eye was ever like an extremely recognizable solo act, like outside of his region, outside of like, you know, his core group of fans. So I'm probably gonna go with Plies, Boosie, or Zoe, just because I like Gorilla Zoe's name stands out. If anything, like I don't remember too much of the music off the top of my head, but I remember his name. So them would be the three that I would say it's between for that class.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna move on to the 2009. As we know, it was a gap between 07 and 08 with the 2009 freshman class. We got Mr. Falarin himself, Wale, man, B.o.B, Charles Hamilton, Asher Rock, Corey Guns, Blue, Mickey Fax, Ace Hood, Currency, and Cuddy. What's your thoughts, man? Let's open this one up.
It's a solid class. That's a solid class. Didn't know much about Charles Hamilton. Did a little bit of research on him. He's one of them artists who, of course, at the time was big, but didn't really make it into the new decade. So for a lot of artists, like especially back then, like if they didn't really make it into the new decade, like if they didn't really make it into like the middle of the decade to now, I more than likely won't know much of their music offhand. I'm just accepting that. I just probably know them by name or association. So didn't know much about Charles Hamilton. Knew of Asher because of that song. But I mean, I honestly feel like that was kind of like his biggest moment, especially like as far as, you know, rap and hip hop is concerned. Corey Guns always felt like a one-trick pony to me. Like, I don't know, because like after 6 foot, 7 foot, it was just like you didn't. Who was talking about him? For real, on a global scale.
All right, so let me ask you this one: with even after 6 foot, 7 foot, you heard that. Did you ever peak for him though? That's a serious question. Like we could say like, oh, this artist fell off or didn't have a buzz, but at the same time, did we ever peak for them to see like what was they doing in their lane after that? Like that's one of them real questions.
That's real, and I know, especially at the time, of course, I was not. So I'm not sure if maybe within the industry he was still making a little bit of moves before he seemingly, did phase out and stop making music. But I mean, I don't disrespect Corey Guns. I just feel like that was his, as far as I'm aware of, and for what I know, that was his kind of like biggest moment, was being on 6 foot, 7 foot. Blue didn't really know much.
I didn't think Blue. I can't even sit here and fake it either.
Yeah, don't know too much about that brother. Sorry to that man. Mickey Fats. I mean, Mickey Fats one of them like names I know, but don't know much of his music. Not sure if there's like a lot of it out there. I know like when I did start really, really picking up on music, so like 12, 13, that wasn't somebody I heard of or saw a lot of as I
heard of the name, but me personally, I wouldn't say I'm in depth familiar with
I can't even remember who he was signed to.
I just know he had buzz.
Buzz. I remember the name. I think, I remember the name, but yeah. Ace Hood. Ace Hood is like one of them really interesting artists because it's like he's not okay. Would you call Ace Hood legendary, or would you say Ace Hood is a legend?
I wouldn't say he's a legend, but I will say I would feel like that he played his part in hip hop.
Right. What's the middle ground though? Because like if you're not really a legend or didn't like put yourself like in that stratosphere.
Not necessarily, but you can't say that necessarily because it's a lot of niggas that's not considered legends of rap and hip hop, but we still appreciate them. And I feel like that's how Aisha should be viewed. We don't gotta put them on like. Are you like trying to? I wouldn't say put them on, but how you trying to box them in a sense?
I don't necessarily want to say I'm boxing them in. I just want to give that tier of people a title. And I feel like you said, a lot of people fall into that category. But Ace Hood had a sound, I think, that was new, that we didn't really like. When you talk about trap and like street rap, like Ace Hood was the epitome of that shit for like a strong 2 years.
I wouldn't say the epitome. I say.
Well, I'm saying
he had a developed and very well produced hustle and motivate sound. Like that's what that shit was at that time, man. Like tapping that nigga Ace to do something on a track at that time, it was like, yeah, nigga, you got it. And I don't know. I feel like for being, I used to be a fan of Ace, so I can speak as a fan. Like listening to his mixtapes would always come harder than his studio albums.
Yeah.
When them studio albums came and people was expecting like, all right, nigga, I heard the hype off your mixtape. They didn't deliver the studio albums didn't deliver the sound at the mixtape. So us as fans, or even how mainstream with a marketing, it was just like, nigga, like, all right, bro, you're mixtape rapper, and that's how they labeled him as. But I'm glad to say, as Ace Hood, he is phased out of the fact like hip hop didn't go as what he probably would have thought it would at the time, but he's found another like pursuitful purpose in life, and so I think that's pretty dope about him on this list, and like to him now.
Currency. I know we both are fans of Currency and are aware.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how many of y'all as listeners are.
Jet Life.
Yeah, Jet Life for sure. But no, Currency solid. I mean, especially at that time too. Definitely was well deserved for sure. Not too much really to talk about.
And his sound is Currency have a so consistent sound. It's like he's never tried to do anything that's like, this ain't me. You know what I'm saying? If you fuck with Currency, you gonna fuck with his sound and every project that he's put out. Like me as a fan of him, I love that like I can go back to something old And the only thing that you can notice is nothing. I say is more so a production. Like you can tell when, all right, this production was crafted, this tape was crafted, this tape was crafted, and it's just him. Or on something like he just snapped this shit together, but he still spaz on this motherfucker on some chill shit. Like that's what I love about Currency. But
that's real. And then
if I had to choose, we'll finish.
Okay, so yeah, I was gonna say, of course, last but not least, is Cudi. And Cudi is Cudi. So I nothing really to.
That's self-explanatory.
So then we get into 2010.
Hey, this.
Hey, one of my personal favorite classes.
Okay.
So Cole is in that class.
Number one.
Pill, Nipsey, Freddie Gibbs.
Yes, sir.
Big Sean,
yes, sir.
Wiz, OJ the Juice Man,
A-Rock,
Fashawn, and Donis. Not really sure about them last two. Had to look them up. Didn't really
I heard of Fashawn. I don't know. Never heard of that. Never heard of that nigga Donis though.
Yeah, I don't know about that nigga Donis. Sorry, that man.
I don't know.
But man, it's a stacked class. Like what I did for my classes is like when I wrote them out, I starred what I felt like were like the relevant names or names.
Pretty much what I did.
That you can
I wrote a little description for these niggas.
Right. That you can hold on to. This class has 6. That's 6 out of 10. And we talk about being relevant, and it's a decade.
Okay.
So that is one of my favorite. But they also, of course, have one of my favorite rappers, one of my favorite artists of all time, and a lot of artists I got a lot of respect for, and I'll definitely have been longtime fans of. So, what's your thoughts on this class, man?
I mean, all back, it got my nigga Cole on here, favorite rapper. He's just so relatable. I'm a huge J-Rock fan. Big Sean, loving Detroit and shit like that with parts there, ties there and shit like that. Gotta fuck with that nigga. And then seeing him, the evolution of Big Sean, I think that's really kind of been big. Wiz, niggas will never forget the Wiz Khalifa era. Like niggas had fucking gold patches in their head, rocking fucking camo shorts, bro. Like
camo shorts and chucks, like
and snapbacks, bro. Like
Wiz really brought them hoes back.
Yeah, Wiz really brought Chuck Taylor. That shit crazy. And then like he took that torch. Like hip hop rappers was already talking about nigga how heavy cannabis they was, but it was like I wouldn't even so much say we got a new Snoop because I'm not gonna say that. But for our generation, that's something that we needed. That like music can still be made. Like
Wiz made fun music, bro. Like he made music kind of like Snoop made in a way. So like if you were to call him the Snoop of our generation,
the sound
the sound
he was going for.
Yeah. I mean that's okay I do that all the time personally. Like if I say like somebody is this generation something, it don't necessarily mean they are the same artist or had the same amount of impact, but in terms of sound, in terms of the lane they're in terms of the purpose they serve in music for our generation, I would definitely compare Wiz to Snoop. And I don't know, I don't feel like Wiz has ever really not got his recognition or not, got the attention that he deserved.
Everybody know the part that Wiz played, like.
Yeah, definitely got to give him his flowers. Definitely a big part of it. For his time, OJ the Juice Man was definitely a big name for sure, for sure. So can't knock him either. I think I wouldn't even call him misses. I just think Pill was somebody I know of Pill just from following who he was with Maybach, right?
I believe he was.
Had to be Maybach.
I heard him on a couple of.
He was with MMG, and so I know of him because of that. Like I don't remember much of his music that he did alone, So don't really know much about that. But between him, Fashawn, like we said, like heard of him, but I don't know a lot about his music. Never heard of Donis, but I mean, to have 7 names that still resonate today in terms of like you hear that name, like, oh yeah, like I remember them. I know about them.
Name, and we just like you just got Nip. Like you having Nip on this class a decade later, looking back, and
so that's another, growth of an artist too, and the evolution of him as well, man. It's just
look a decade later. I probably already know who you're gonna take, so it's not a question. But who would and out of your 7, who would be your 3 though?
I think you got to give Cole a runaway from this class because he's proven it. That's not a bias thing. He's proven it out of this class. But I will probably. It's low key tough because Freddie been on niggas' necks for like the last year and a half.
Fred, bro. This nigga been on some other shit, bro. This last tape, oh my goodness, bro.
Hey, nah, they gonna get an album review soon. We not even tripping. But no, he done been on niggas' necks. But if I had to pick 3, I probably personally would go Cole, Nipsey, J-Rock.
I can respect it, bro.
Yeah, go. We gonna move to the next class. Go ahead and run off 2011, pimp. Start off with your boy.
We got 2011. We got my boy. I'm gonna forever advocate for him. And this class is where I'm gonna do this shit. I'm gonna let you know why. We got my boy Meek, man. We got Crit, like 2 fucking powerhouses right there. You got Sci-Hi. Woo! God damn, slicing through this shit. You got Lil Twist. You got Yellow Wolf, Fred the Godson, Mac Miller, YG, Lil B, Kendrick, and Diggy. I can't say, look.
Hey.
I'm finishing this list, bro. And there's not a nigga on this list that I have not listened to.
Fair.
And this was like, damn. Except for that, I say this. I wasn't the one that was kind of walking around hyping up the Lil B, like during the Lil B movement. I thought it was like it was a cool little funny thing as far as like culture, if you want to talk about culture and shit like that.
Yeah.
But outside of that, everybody else around that name, oh my God, bro. Like this is
they got it on the money with this one. Like,
hey, 2011 was this was a one. This was a one.
It was the one. Yeah.
Let's dissect this. If you had to go through, shit. I don't even want to, cause I don't even want to say like let's get into your favorite. Like let's just walk down these artists. Like what's your thoughts, your feel of them?
I think it's crazy to hear some of these names and think about them being freshmen in 2011.
Yeah.
When you talk about somebody like Meek, still very relevant now, you know what I'm saying, and had a run, during that time, that was you can't knock that at all. Crit, I know that's definitely a personal favorite of mine. I know you're a fan. I know he doesn't have the biggest mainstream following, but Crit is definitely a name you can't ignore either. If niggas don't know about Sci-Hi, my God, like
hey, this man right here,
this
nigga can spit, bro. This nigga can spit, bro.
Sci-Hi is like, you got some rappers who are like diabolical, like, and Sci-Hi is one of them diabolical type of rappers. Like that nigga metaphors, his wordplay, like his lyrics is, one thing I love about Sci-Hi is I feel like Sci-Hi is always effortlessly giving you a history lesson.
Oh my God. It's
like effortlessly just spitting.
It's been 3 years since No Dope on Sundays. It's literally
when I was going through the list, I realized that and I was like, bro, we need another Sci-Hi project. And the thing was, nobody talked about No Dope on Sundays enough.
That's what kind of blew me about hip hop at that time, bro, because it was like tapes, some of the projects that was dropping in 2007, and I knew No Dope on Sundays was gonna get overshadowed by damn. I mean, like, come on now.
But No Dope on Sundays dropped at the end of 2017 though. Like literally,
and it got
nobody talked about it.
Nobody talked about it, bro. I went into 2018 bumping that shit like
literally, bro.
Bible, No Dope on Sundays is fucking crazy, bro. And I'm definitely expecting another Sci-Hi tape. And like, I even say, if y'all don't know who Sai is, if you was a fan of Kanye, well, if you're a fan of Kanye, you know who Sai is.
Yeah.
But
if you
overlooked him, you need to get into his discography. Like, this shit kind of fucking crazy.
Bro, just go to the first Black History Project, bro. Just start there. He got stuff before that, but start there.
Man. And work your way up, cuz. Just work your way up.
Ridiculous, man. But then okay, so you got a little Twist. It's Twist. He was with Young Money. You know his name. You know who he is, but
yeah, he fell off the rip, man.
He fell off the rip. Yeah, it's tough. It'd be tough. That's real. I mean, Twist is Twist. I don't think nobody would necessarily have anything negative to say. I just think Twist stands where he stands. Yeah. Whatever the reason is, he's at where he's at. You got Yellow Wolf. I say this about Yellow Wolf. Yellow Wolf he's a solid artist, first and foremost. I'll just establish that. I don't think his name, I know his name is not extremely recognizable. I know doesn't have like the most mainstream following, but I think he definitely deserved to make this class. And especially around that time, like early around that time, like when when M was really working on like Shady Records and everything, and like really, pushing his roster at the time. I think he benefited from that and benefited from really being close to Slaughterhouse and everything. So
hell yeah.
I mean, yeah, so he definitely somebody to note. I would understand if somebody don't feel like he deserves a lot of conversation. That's fair, but just definitely somebody to note.
Yellow Wolf had bars, bro.
That definitely had bars. How you feel about Fred the Godson? I'll admit I didn't I ain't listened to a lot of Fred the Godson. So not really.
And that's how it was. I know for me personally, it's like I've skimmed through some of his music. Never sat there and kind of like tried to push myself through a whole album, and that probably followed me. I feel like now if I probably went back and analyzed some of his music, I probably have a different perspective. But it's just really a skim over his shit for real.
Yeah. You get into you got Mac, YG, and Kendrick in this class. I just feel like Mac is Mac, like RIP. But Mac was who he was, and his music was what it was, and it was amazing. YG, I think, is YG actually, like, I don't think people really understand like just how much of a stamp YG has on not only just the West Coast scene in general and West Coast rap, but hip hop in general. I think him more than maybe any other recent artist from the West Coast has really carried the sound, if anything. I mean, I know a lot of that you can probably attribute to Mustard, but
I'm about to say, because you still got Kamaya.
Yeah, I'm saying like somebody like if you was gonna attribute that West Coast sound to anybody who was mainstream or anybody you could associate it with by recognition, YG is probably the first artist you're gonna think of. And just cause like he's unapologetically blood, I think that's just one of the realest things I think we've really ever seen. The nigga changed the magazine cover to Bombplex. Okay? Let's just recognize the greatness there. So you got YG, you got Dot, Kung Fu Kid.
Hey, hold up now.
What?
Let's not forget Diggy, bro.
Oh, I was just going through the list. I won't forget it. We still got Diggy and Lil B. I was just saying, like Dot is Dot, like Kung Fu Kenny. We here, we know.
Dot is a whole. That's an episode, nigga. Like
right.
Dot.
That's him. We know that. But yeah, then you got Diggy and you got Lil B. So like you said, Lil B definitely had his time, and Lil B had like somewhat of a cult following too. He had that, and then Diggy wasn't. I don't think Diggy was nothing to really like brush off or disregard. I just don't think Diggy really ever.
I'm gonna be honest.
I would say he didn't prioritize music, but it just felt like you didn't see, as far as from what I saw, you didn't really see him dropping too many like full projects.
And his sound now, and the fact that I feel like he's more comfortable as a rapper and as an artist and what he can do, being his age, it's a lot of potential right there. A lot of potential right there.
Yeah, I think it's real tough when you also like the child of somebody that high profile too. Yeah, it's kind of real tough to truly make your own path if you're not gonna follow, in the path. So I feel like he kind of fell into that too. But I definitely wouldn't just brush him off for sure. But a great class. They really, them 2 years, they really did what they needed to do. Them 2 years to start the decade off.